Hello, loves. This is Emme from The Magical Mystic, and today this is our first ever episode of BeComing, and we want to kind of start you in easy, because, we never ever do nothing easy. No, like Tina Turner, but we start you off easy, and we're going to talk about giving your life meaning, because most of the people that come to us, because all of us deal with people, they're looking for a purpose, or they're looking for something to hold on to, something that will make them feel good about all of the things that they have going on in their lives. And most of us, we kind of get roped into believing that we have to define ourselves with our husbands and with our children and with our jobs and with our degrees and how much money we make and how much credit we got, that kind of thing. But your life is much more than that. And so today we just want to give you guys a little bit of few tips, a little bit of encouragement, take you easy into the path of giving your life meaning. So, Nicole, your husband, so a funny story about how we became the Syndicate. So we were in, where were we at? In Houston, maybe? I think. No? I don't remember. But we were somewhere, because we be everywhere. We were in Atlanta. And we're talking, and her husband had this whole thing. He's like, oh, I got y'all all figured out. So he's like, this one is the one at this one is the one at that, this one, he said, and then it's that one, because I'm waiting on him to get to his own wife, right? Because he done did everybody but his wife. I'm not thinking about myself. He said, then you got that one that talk real rough and blah, 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 blah. It's the ringleader. It's like, and that's her. I'm like, me? Wait. And so he was like, we're like a syndicate, like a organized crime ring. And it was hilarious, but it stuck because technically we are on some stuff. We trying to get some people free, and I just have to give you guys credit for that. G came up with the thing that you see here. He acknowledged what we always were, a little secret society of getting people free. So, anywho.
Yeah, it's true. And when you think about it, when we did have that conversation, it kind of made me think a little bit deeper of, what is this syndicate and what is it that we're trying to do? And it is trying to bring that personal freedom to everyone, because everyone has that right. And so just us sharing our stories, us sharing our thoughts and our teachings is just an opportunity for us to reach out and to maybe do our part in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I think that society kind of frowns down upon people who are free because everything is supposed to fit a regimen. But what exactly is that regimen supposed to look like? It's all subjective. But when you are leading your life to fit in these regimented little boxes, it leads to a lot of unhappy people in the world trying to fit in these little boxes that they really don't belong in, because they are afraid of who they might be and that they might be rejected by societal standards. But once you decide to put those, put that weight down that you might be carrying of trying to fit in, and you just decide that you are enough, and and the thing about it is, once you decide that you are enough, other people start to affirm you, and you start to find your family, and that makes all the difference in the world. You no longer need those standards. So.
Right. And a lot of times when people are seeking meaning, along with what Bast was saying, is that they're already inside of a box that society has us in, our family has us in, and they're trying to determine what makes them happy, but a lot of times they don't know, because they've been told what they should want. They've been told what they should seek, what they should desire. And so many people come to me and they'll say, once we begin conversing and they're trying to figure out their purpose, one of the main things I ask is, well, what is it that you want to do? What do you enjoy? What makes you happy? And sadly, a lot of people can't answer that question because they've never been in a position to truly sit and give themselves a genuine moment to truly determine what it is that they seek. They're so used to making other people happy, like we were saying, our spouses, our children, our workplace. And we don't always take that time to determine what it is we want,
Wow.
Right, definitely. I think when we talk about the meaning of life, I agree with everything that you guys are saying. And when we're looking at freedom, what comes up a lot for me is just what does that mean, right? To be free. And so, of course, we do still live in a world we're navigating with other people, right? And have these experiences. But for me, it's being authentic. It's just being true to myself and figuring out for myself what that is. And expressing that in my daily life. And to me, that's freedom. And so it's defining that for yourself. And I think that's, for me, the bigger underlying meaning of life.
Absolutely.
Myself.
That's true.
I think for me, I grew up in a very traditional household. And so as a woman, we weren't really encouraged to find out or figure out what it is that we liked to do. And so I was one of those persons that for the longest time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I liked. I knew what I was told I should like. I knew what I was told was correct or proper for a young woman to do. And that left me really floundering, and I made some not very good decisions because I didn't know. And so I would love to be able to see people not make choices just because there's an option available, but to get to know themselves, to know, and just getting to know myself was a really big undertaking, allowing myself the freedom to do that and knowing that I was worthy and deserving to do that. So.
And it's interesting you say worthy and deserving because a lot of times people are not aware on a conscious level that they think that they're undeserving. But there's so many, restrictions that we have. Take for example, you've gone to school for accounting, okay? But that may not be what you want to do, But we sit back and we reason ourselves out of going for what we really want. Well, I've gone to school for this, and this is my job, and this is what I do, and this is what makes me money. So whether I like this or not, I'm just going to keep doing this because this is working for now, but it has the appearance of working. Deep down inside, though, it's truly not working. And this is why people feel unfulfilled but can't put a finger on it, I say, go for that dream. What is it that you absolutely enjoy doing? And that's how you find your purpose. Understanding what you actually like to do. You can always tie your purpose into that. For me, I like to inspire. I like to encourage. And so how we talk about freedom here, those are one of the things I like to encourage and inspire people to do, particularly when living their spiritual and divine lives.
It brings up something too. I think one of the biggest issues that I have a problem with some of the people who come to see me is that they're terrified. It's like, I don't want to fail. It's like, it's easy for you to tell me, jump out here and do this and jump out here and do that, but I got kids and I can't afford a setback and this and that. And one of the things that I can say for me personally, and it's not that I recommend it as a path, but I failed my way into success. And a lot of the people that I know who are successful, they kind of failed their way into whatever success they found and whatever purpose they found. Because how do you know, even when you're choosing what you want to do, you're choosing based upon your perception of what that thing is going to be like in your life. Then when you get in it, it's kind of like, oh, no, you know what I'm saying? But you won't know that until you're in it. And I think a lot of people, because they have been taught that they don't have time and they don't have, they don't have time mainly and cannot afford a mistake, that they just play the safe route. And that's always dangerous.
And thus they don't think they have the support.
Yeah, that's true.
But have you also noticed though that those that are playing the safe route, those who are feeling like they don't have the parameters to go out and explure, feel like they are failing anyway. So it's kind of like you are, like either you do or you don't.
What do you have to lose?
What are you going to lose? Or, well, actually, there is. Okay, so I like to liken, especially since my husband and I have been in entrepreneurial pursuits for a long time, and so we have understood what it is like to, pass and then to fail and then to pass. But what I've come to understand is that it's not necessarily a failure if you've actually gone out and attempted these things. It's literally you um, pass and go into another phase of awareness and perception that you didn't have before. And so when you decide, and with every step, your perception, your vision gets wider, you get a little wiser.
Yes.
And that's literally how you go and find yourself in your in the pursuit that would actually fit you and you know, give you your best life. But there is no real failure except not trying at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
that's absolutely true.
And I think that I say sometimes, and you mentioned this as well when we talk about things that are serving you versus things that are honoring you. And I tend to think those are two different things because they have a different vibration, they feel differently, right?
Right.
So like you said, you can maybe be an accountant and that's a safe job or whatever it is. So it serves something, right? It has a purpose. But is it honoring you in your life? Does it feel honoring? And so one of the things I like to emphasize is making self-honoring choices every day, right? And just honoring yourself daily, and that makes a big difference in the quality of life in your vibration.
Right. And when we speak freedom too, there's a freedom from fear. A lot of the underlying reasons and the energy behind people not feeling like they can step out and do what it is they truly enjoy is because of fear, you know, lack of support, fear of failure, perceived failure, you know, and it's just they're afraid of judgment, you know. A lot of times people don't get support from places that they expected, you know, and it can be a challenge. So once they begin to release fear, self-judgment, and step out on trust, you know, then they can begin to seek the life that they desire. No one wants to be, you know, 90 years old looking back on life with so much regret and wishing you had done this and done that, you know.
No, when you're 90 years old, you're supposed to have stories.
Yes.
Great experiences, right? Adventures.
Well, I guess that's why they say that the graveyard is the place with the biggest amount of opportunities and ideas that never happen. Because those people didn't experience. But I kind of like to think about life as like a university where you come to learn and to experience. And so you go through a series of experiences, but these experiences are supposed to be experienced in an authentic space for you. Each person is different. So if you think about how when you go to university, they give you a path, right, that you're going to follow if you want to be a nurse or a doctor or whatever you're going to be. You take these courses and you follow this path. But that's the same thing that we should be looking at in our own life as far as how to enhance our experiences by being authentic, not by what someone has told us that we have to do this, that, the other in order to become that. So in order to become you, you got to really go through and ask yourself those honest questions and not be afraid to step outside of the box, because the thing about the box is when you try to fit something in a box that doesn't fit, it starts to ooze out. And then when those things ooze out and you don't honor those things about you, then you actually do more damage to yourself, and then you do end up with things like fear and guilt and all kinds of low self-worth. So yeah, it all starts from within.
It sounds like a root chakra issue too, because you teach about the chakras, and a lot of people have highly suppressed root or lower chakra issues, and it's because there is this weight of, I gotta get this right. But the thing they never ask is, who are these they people who are telling you what this right thing is? It's like, well, who's making that definition? And I think the most beautiful thing that I learned that really kind of got me set on this path, and I mean really set on it versus playing around with it, but committed to it, was that I've never ever lived for myself. Like, it was that moment where you really come to that place of, I belong to everybody but me, you know? And I remember, like, I was in tears, and I was just like, because it was awkward. I didn't think I was gonna have the empty nest syndrome, you know, because I was waiting on my life. You know, you think you're waiting on your life, and when I got it, I didn't know what to do with it. It's just kind of like, and so I started finding people to take care of, because that was the only way that was the only thing I knew. And it's easier to go deal with other people and their trash and stuff than to play around with your own and deal with yourself. So it's like we are set up and programmed to be terrified of what we have stuffed down within us. And the longer we're stuffing, the harder it gets to really stomach that stuff. But until you stomach it, you're never going to grow anywhere. And you will constantly deal with feeling like your life is meaningless, it's not your own, and you're traumatized by really yourself. You know?
Let's talk about too how it's so easy to transfer those things onto others because you are feeling like you're feeling certain way, and that's kind of like what we do in society too. It's almost like kind of like the blame game. So I didn't reach my upper echelon and had to be the other person's fault because but it's a lot of the time it's because that fear that you're talking about of looking at oneself and actually reckoning with what you didn't, I wish I could have, would have, did this and that and the third, and I didn't, and so, it's so easy to transfer that, but the thing about it is, once you get past, first of all, looking at things like you have a time limit. There is no time limit, and that's something that I had to figure out for myself because it was me being a mother of 4 kids and 3 of them in college, so I'm like close to that emptiness, like 3/4 of emptiness, and I still have a middle schooler, so I'm not there yet. But I was actually one too that was just like so used to doing for everybody else, and then when the 3 went away to college, and then I've got just the one, my attention isn't saturated in everybody anymore. So now I've got this time on my hands that I can actually do for myself. But I'm thinking, I'm an old lady. Like, what the hell? What am I going to do?
I know.
I think that. What I had to learn though is that I have seen some people do some absolute dynamic things late in life, just like you can early in life, or you can start off on one trajectory at one age, and then guess what? You might want to flip the script and do something else and do something dynamic. We don't have the rules that we thought that we had.
Absolutely.
And so as long as you are willing to toss that stuff aside, deal with yourself, and reckon with it. Give yourself the grace that you actually deserve. There's nothing you can't do.
And I know for me, I hear you guys talk about being in service or what have you. And okay, so I'm a late mommy, okay? So all my life it's really just been, all my adult life, it was just me. And so when it came to a purpose, I would hear like little hints from people based on their experience with me, what they thought I should be doing. But the only thing that stood out for me was then I would be an effective part of someone else's life, and I really did not want that responsibility. I was like, I just kind of want to stay in my corner, and while I didn't mind inspiring and encouraging friends, to me that was an easy thing to do. But when people actually seek you for that encouragement, for that inspiration, I'm just like, I don't want to be responsible for that. So that was, even in that was fear. That was feeling like I might not get it right, feeling like I was going to be, pulled at. But what happened was, and you remember, because I was just like, no, thank you, but but now that I'm doing it, like I had to accept that was my purpose. A lot of times when we look for meaning in life and we're looking for a purpose, a lot of people are looking for someone to tell us. Well, she did try to tell me, but it's not really enough for anyone else to tell you. I had to finally reconcile with that myself and go back to her and say, okay, you were right last year. You know what I'm saying? And so now that I'm actually operating in that purpose, you could not have told me 10 years ago that I would be doing this. I had this tunnel vision. My husband used to get on my nerves by asking me a question. What's your 5-year plan? What do you want to do? What are your goals? Like, I just want to live a basic life. And that's literally what I thought, because because I didn't think past that day. I didn't think about inspiring others. I didn't think about, one thing is when we're giving our lives meaning, and when we are living a meaningful life, it has a trickle effect.
It
Okay,
does.
me living
Definitely.
my life meaningful now and being in my purpose brings meaning to other people as well.
Right.
You know.
Does. It does.
And something, because that, you know, you talk about being married and children, which I don't have children and I'm not married, right? So on one hand, I have this very free type life. On the other hand, I did spend a lot of time feeling very weighted. And so what that looked like was having to look inward to go, where is that coming from? Which some of that is definitely was self-imposed, right? What you said, as far as me feeling what I needed to still do for, like, in my family relationships, in my friendships, right, things like that, which has to go inward to say, what is it that you feel like you have to do these things? And so not so much about projecting it outward, but I had to look at myself and go, even though you say you don't need to be, because that's my thing, I'm like, I never wanted to be needed. I was like, I rather be desired or wanted. Always, I'm like,
That's right.
I don't want to do the need thing. I don't want to be anybody's everything, right? The whole world. But when it came to my close relationships, I realized I was defining myself by them. And so with that meant, when I had to step back and go, well, if I don't do this, am I being the best daughter, the best sister, the best aunt? And it was like, but you're tired.
Yeah.
So at some point, I had to actually step back and, like you say, look at myself and define what that looks like for me, with my meaning, and that's where we are now.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a journey and it's ever changing, but definitely putting yourself at the top of that priority list, right?
Yes.
And the weight that you can still have, even without all these other like responsibilities you would tend to think of marriage and children that you self-impose on yourself.
That's
true.
Yes.
That's important.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to say one last thing. So we were talking about finding your purpose and being authentic. And I kind of think that while you may have a general purpose about, you know, your life experience, that it kind of changes throughout. Like you have different levels throughout life. Because so you're talking about being a late mom, and I was a very early mom. So those stages began really early for me. So then when mine left the nest, it was kind of like, whoa, you know, who am I? So just having to go through and find that. And so whereas my purpose was solely dedicated to motherhood at that time, it became, you know, something new. And so it was an opportunity to go within and to find out, you know, what is it that you want? What is it that you're here to do? What is it that, you know, you need to do next in order to move towards it? So the purpose does kind of like fluctuate and change a little bit.
I can see
It
that.
does. That makes a lot of sense. You know, one of the things that we want you guys to understand is that whatever it is that you're feeling, it's not like you're the only one feeling it. And when you're sitting at home, you're on your couch, you're laying in your bed, you're in your car alone, some of the things that you're feeling, you can't find words for it, and you feel like you got to be the only one feeling it. Because the same way, you got to remember this, the same way it's not something you could find words for to talk to someone about it, is the same way thousands or even millions of other people are feeling that same thing. And it's some of you who have been suffering internally, and you're looking at yourself feeling like, I should be grateful, I should be happy, my bills are paid, my children are healthy, XYZ. Why do I feel so empty? And I can honestly say it is because you have built a beautiful life that was written by someone other than you.
Yes.
And that will always feel empty. Guys, any last words?
I
I just-
think that was great.
I enjoyed it. I just like people to understand that I know it's scary dealing with yourself. Sometimes it's unpleasant dealing with ourselves.
Yeah.
Definitely know it was unpleasant, you know, with things that I had to deal with. And the thing about it is, you are always going to evolve.
Yes.
So you're going to always have to deal with yourself. But once you get used to it, get into it, love on yourself a little bit, it becomes easy, and you'll want to do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Choosing yourself is not a selfish act.
Oh,
It's a necessary act.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And then I think the last thing I wanted to add is that, you know, self is really self, and that it doesn't always look the same. You could be doing the same role, the same job, you know, living in the same place, even studying the same thing, but yourself is so different. So you've got to really find that place of authenticity and ask, what does my mind look like?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, we hope that you enjoyed the show. We will be back with you again. This is going to be a weekly thing. Tell your friends. We're going to be here. If you need us, write us, and we'll answer. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Good night.
Can I?
Nice.